Hello friends, this is Professor Watermelon and welcome to another bedtime story time. If you don't mind, go ahead and share this bedtime story time to Facebook or share it to your friends and maybe we can get some more viewers here. I'm so excited to see you all tonight. Well, at least I can pretend to see you. You can see me. And I hope you're all tucked in and ready for a bedtime story time. This bedtime story time is dedicated to a very good friend of mine who lives about 2,000 miles away from Indianapolis, where I live, Indianapolis, Indiana. She lives 2,000 miles away in a faraway land called Seattle, Washington. I used to live there too. I was a school librarian in Seattle, Washington for about 10 years. Can you believe it? 10 years. And then I moved home back to Indianapolis, Indiana, where I was born. Well, my friend Sandy, she told me about her ancestors who came all the way from a farther away land called Norway. It's in Europe. And in Norway, people believe in some mythical creatures. One of those mythical creatures happens to be, let's see if I can push this up here, this little guy right here. Do you know what that is? That would be a gnome. He's a gnome. He's a woodland creature, a mythical creature called a gnome. He would be considered one of the good guys and the fairy folk of Norway. But one of the bad guys would be called a troll. Yes, a troll. You've probably heard of those too before. Trolls live in the mountains and sometimes look like the mountains and sometimes look like the trees. Well, this story time is dedicated to Sandy, who is from that faraway land called Norway. Now, Sandy taught me a lot of Norwegian things while I lived in Seattle. She taught me how to make a Norwegian flatbread called lefse, and it's incredibly yummy. It's made out of potatoes and flour, and it's rolled out. It's kind of like a tortilla. Then you roll it up with cinnamon, butter, and sugar. Yum, 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 yum. And a few other cookies. I think one called krumkake, something like that. And she's going to have to maybe comment later and tell us how to spell that. I can't remember. But a lot of other fun holiday cookies, and the lefse was delicious. So I bet you are already guessing what our bedtime story time is going to be tonight. The Three Billy Goats Gruff, which is a Norwegian folk tale. Again, just like the Little Red Hen during the last bedtime story time, we have no idea who wrote this story so many years ago. Actually, it wasn't a written down tale. A lot of these old folk tales were passed down from generation to generation, told orally. That means speaking it from your mouth, and not written down. Those stories were later written down by folklorists who wanted to preserve the stories and keep them around forever and ever and ever, and aren't we glad that they did? So I want to share with you tonight the Three Billy Goats Gruff. Are you ready? All right, sit back and relax, and don't be afraid of the troll, okay, even though he is kind of frightening. The Three Billy Goats Gruff, a Norwegian folk tale. Once upon a time, there were three Billy Goats brothers named Gruff. There was a little Billy Goat Gruff, middle Billy Goat Gruff, and a great big Billy Goat Gruff. They lived on the side of a mountain where day after day they munched happily on fresh green grass. Now one day the goats found that there was not one blade of grass left on the side of the mountain. They had eaten it all up, so they decided to visit the big green meadow on the other side of the stream and on up the hill. To cross the stream, the Billy Goats Gruff had to walk over a creaky wooden bridge, and under this bridge lived an old troll with great big googly eyes and an ugly crooked nose as long as your arm. Yikes. Rumor had it that the troll didn't want anyone using his bridge, and that he loved nothing better than to eat billy goats. Yikes! So of course, most billy goats never even thought of going over that bridge. And that was why the grass in the meadow was so long and thick and green over there. As the days passed, the 3 billy goats Gruff grew leaner and leaner and hungrier and hungrier. They finally became so hungry that they decided that they had to cross that bridge. They just had to. So the next day, the 3 billy goats set out for the meadow. Little billy goat Gruff led the way. Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap. He was so small and light that his teeny little hoofs made only a small sound as he trip-trapped over the wooden bridge. "Who is tripping over my bridge?" roared a voice that made the bridge tremble as it creaked. It was the voice of the troll, whose sharp, pointy ears heard everything. Little billy goat Gruff nearly fell from fright. But instead he called out, "It is I, little billy goat Gruff, on my way to the big green meadow for a bite to eat. Good day, sir." And he lifted his hoof, ready to continue tripping over the bridge. "Eat? You eat?" bellowed the troll, and he laughed so hard the bridge now shook wildly. "I'm the one who's going to eat. I'm going to eat you. Right up, I love billy goats." "Oh no, please," begged little billy goat Gruff. "You can't see me, but I am so teeny that I'd hardly make a mouthful. You would do much better to eat my middle brother. He happens to be on his way over here right now." The troll grunted and grumbled, since he didn't like to wait for anything, least of all a good meal, but he liked a full meal too, so he let little billy goat Gruff go on his way and waited for middle billy goat Gruff to come along. Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap. It wasn't long before middle billy goat Gruff's medium-sized hooves came trip-trapping over the wooden bridge. "Who is that trip-trapping over my bridge?" roared the troll again in a voice even deeper than before. "It's just I, middle billy goat Gruff," answered the goat in a loud, clear voice. "I'm on my way to the big green meadow, and when I get there, I will eat and eat until I become big and round and fat." "That's what you think," said the troll, and he laughed fiendishly. "Forget your green meadow. I'm going to eat you instead." "Oh, please don't do such a foolish thing," begged the middle-sized goat. "If you wait just a moment or two, my big brother will be right along. Surely you'd rather eat him. He'll make a much grander meal than I." Now the troll was a greedy fellow, and the bigger the meal, the better. So he growled, "Off with you then, skedaddle!" So middle billy goat Gruff briskly scampered off to the big green meadow, where he joined his younger brother. A few minutes later, great big billy goat Gruff came stomping along. Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, went his heavy hooves as he marched over the wooden bridge. The sound echoed far and wide. "Who is tramping over my bridge?" roared the troll. His voice was deafening by now, an easy match for great big billy goat's thundering hooves. "It is I, the very biggest billy goat Gruff," bellowed great big billy goat Gruff in a voice that made the trees fling up their boughs for mercy. "Ah, you! I've been waiting for you. I'm going to eat you up," said the troll. And he licked his chops and lifted himself over the side of the bridge. There he crouched, with his great googly eyes and his ugly crooked nose that was as long as your arm, and he headed straight for great big billy goat Gruff. He couldn't wait to eat him. But big billy goat Gruff just lowered his head, fixed his eyes on the troll, aimed his great curling horns right at him, and butted. The troll went flying. He flew straight off the wooden bridge, high into the air, and then on into the rushing stream. And it is said that he has never been heard from since. So, great big Billy Goat Gruff tripped on to the big green meadow where he joined his brothers, who were already happily munching on the luscious green grass, which was even fresher and taller than any of them had imagined it could be. The three goats feasted until they could eat no more, and became so fat that they had to waddle home back over the creaky bridge. And the last that was heard, the three Gruff brothers were still the plumpest and fattest billy goats for miles and miles and miles around. Snip, snap, snout. Now this story's out. The three billy goats Gruff. Wink, 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 go to sleep, sleep, sleep. Sweet dreams and good night.